You was a fan in the first WrestleMania that we watched, and you've said this several times on the podcast of Junkyard Dog. How can you relate to Junkyard Dog?
Because he was a working class dude
that acted like a dog.
Yeah, but he was a working...
Right? You, instead of AJ Styles, you're putting Dolph Ziggler above AJ Styles.
Yes.
Jesus, right.
Yes. Yes, Jesus. I am. American dream.
Oh. He took the moment. What the hell with him? Hello.
Hello, everyone. And welcome back to the Gimme All Year Wrestling Podcast. My name is Tom and you are...
I'm Ant.
Fucking right you are. I did it already, that's one. What are we doing today?
We're going to look at WrestleMania VI, Tom.
6.
From 1990.
1990.
Yeah, in
Awesome.
the Sky Dome, Toronto, Canada, which was the first WrestleMania to be outside of the US.
Delightful.
Good fact.
Delightful.
When is WrestleMania going to be in the UK?
When Vince starts watching the Gimme All Year Wrestling Podcast.
Absolutely.
And realises
the
what
market.
immense talent there is in Yorkshire and around the globe.
Absolutely.
And wants to employ us even though we spend half our time dissing him on the podcast.
Well, we are merely a review show.
We're not merely anything. We're not merely anything. Anthony Nalen.
Okay.
We are the thing.
Premier.
We are the best.
The Premier. Awesome. Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura. We are the bar.
We're the bar of wrestling podcasts.
We should shave your hair and spike my...
Just do the thing.
What thing? Is that what they do?
Do the thing.
Why do they do that?
I don't know, but that's the thing they do.
Oh, right.
Sheamus and Cesaro.
Oh, yeah. Or.
The bar.
Is this the Sheamus and Cesaro that both wear kilts?
Yeah, we could do that.
Who's from Scotland?
Well, you don't have to be from Scotland to wear a kilt. I know it's...
Is it classed as a kilt or a skirt?
It's a kilt.
It might be a skirt. I just dribbled.
You just dribbled.
I just dribbled. Awesome, right. So Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura are our commentators.
I'll Gorilla your Monsoon.
I've got a little bit of information here. This is the last pay-per-view for Jesse Ventura.
And also Andre the Giant.
And yes, we'll get to that when we get to that. Spoiler alert, Andre the Giant's last pay-per-view appearance.
Saul's mate.
Yeah, no, man. That's going to be sad because Jesse and Gorilla, I think at this point, we go to Gorilla and Vince.
Yeah.
No.
Not the same. Not the same. Not nearly as much enthusiasm, not nearly as much excitement. It's like if someone put you with, I don't know, somebody else. Like,
it'd be less exciting.
Somebody not me. You know? It'd be shit. I'm like the Jesse. Yeah. And you're the Gorilla.
Okay.
Look at you.
I can't think of a gorilla saying right now.
You're the Gorilla.
Fair enough.
I'm the Jesse. I'm the body. I'm the body.
It starts off with the Canadian national anthem by Robert Goulet. Oh, Canada. Goulet, sorry.
Goulet.
Ah, how bad faithful for... Every time I think of the Canada national anthem, I just think of the South Park.
I was about to say, but we're not politically incorrect on this podcast.
No.
So we shall not blame Canada or anybody for anything ever.
Okay.
Canada's wonderful. Canada
we're British and we love everyone.
Yeah, we're British and we love everybody. Canadians
are great, man. I'd love to retire to Canada.
I know, I'd love to retire to Canada. Canada, do you want us? We want you.
Absolutely.
Please tell us that you want us.
So, do you know the people that were watching this WrestleMania in the crowd?
Yeah, man. Edge and Christian were there.
Lance Storm.
Lance Storm was
Renee
there.
Young.
Yeah, man. Mental.
Stephen Amell, is it?
Yeah, Stephen Amell from Arrow.
Was in the crowd.
Who later had a WrestleMania match in 2015.
No, he didn't. He had a SummerSlam match. But thanks for the fact. He had a SummerSlam match where he tag teamed with Neville against Cody Rhodes, Stardust, and I can't remember who else it was.
Yeah, that's one we should probably know. Tell us.
But there we go. It was SummerSlam, not WrestleMania.
I remember it in the middle of the. Shut up.
First match. Rick Martel.
You're the first match.
Rick Martel, the model, versus Koko B. Ware. Koko B. Ware gets a WrestleMania match. Good for him. There was a lot of matches on this card, man.
Fluff matches,
a lot of fluff matches. This was one of them.
It was a pretty, let's keep this one pretty brief. Model Rick Martel was pretty stellar. I mean, he's a great performer at this time. Proper nailing the arrogance, he had a great physique.
Yeah, he did, but he couldn't really do out with Koko Beware, really.
The chemistry wasn't there, really. No. I think it was just a filler match.
In fact, I wish that this had been a match against Tito, and this had been the blow-off, as opposed to the sort of semi-blow-offs that we've sort of seen. When they come into the ring, as with most of this WrestleMania, apart from the main event, I think is the only one where they don't, we have the mini-ring entrances.
Yeah.
Which they had in WrestleMania 3, but this is the first time since that they've had it in it, because it's quite a long ramp.
Yeah, very odd.
I'd love to see him bring that back, for someone like the New Day in a mini ring. That'd be hilarious, man.
I'm sure one day that will come back somehow, some way. It probably has, but probably have the mini rings ever featured since that time? I think it's probably been some kind of gimmick at some point.
They must have done, yeah. So Jesse says when he sprays on arrogance, Hollywood had better watch out. The Rick Martel perfume, which he comes down with. I need some arrogance, Tom.
You don't need any arrogance.
I need some arrogance,
especially
arrogance. For when I'm playing 2K18.
He's such an arrogant muppet, honestly. Honestly, it's the most frustrating thing. And when I beat him, it's the most satisfying thing.
I'm way too humble, man.
We're about to play some 2K18 on the podcast and do some classic matches for you. And
we are.
And honestly, you will, if you hear him, if you're able to hear Anthony, if you're not, then you'll just see me thrash him. But if you're able to hear him, you'll just hear how frustrating he is.
Oh, you get really upset, don't you? It's great. Please, if you're enjoying the podcast, hit that thumbs up, comment, subscribe, join our social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr.
All that stuff.
Come and join the community, because we all have a laugh, I hope.
I have a laugh. The two of us. I have a laugh with you. I have a laugh with you when you think you're like the model Rick Martel, and you're all like, "Oh, look at me, I'm great at 2K18."
As if the model is in 18. We had a match earlier, the model versus Jericho. We should let's move on from that. But the match starts off okay. So this is Rick Martel versus Koko Beware. It gets a little slow. There's a weird bit where Koko fake punches and model goes over. I didn't really get that at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a botch or if Martel was reacting to the last move.
It looked like a botch, man.
Yeah, I think so. The model gets Koko into the Boston Crab, and Koko submits.
Quality. I mean, the Boston Crab is a terrible maneuver that shouldn't really hurt. Jericho has since made it okay. But then, I don't ever see the value in a Boston Crab.
He made it his own, didn't he?
Unless it's the model Rick Martel doing it.
There's been other Boston Crabs. Who'd be the camel clutch, man, with Iron Sheik was devastating and so devastating.
Yeah, but that was the camel clutch.
The
Boston Crab.
Similar.
Jericho used to do the one. Used to do the line.
Oh, what about the sharpshooter? Because that's just a
kind of modified. Texas Cloverleaf.
There we go. Mean Gene is backstage next with a colossal connection. Heenan was doing most of the talking in this promo. And then we get an interview with Demolition going to cut Andre the Giant down and shout, "Timber!" And Smash is going to smash Haku, which is... Yeah. I'm running on the names a bit, I suppose.
They were never great promos.
Oh, Addison and Smash?
Yeah,
I quite like them.
I like them. They're trying to revamp Demolition today with Rowan and Harper. They're trying to
Do you think that's what they're going to be like?
Gimmick. Yeah, that's kind of the pitch for them.
I think by this episode comes out, you'll know more about
the Bludgeon Brothers, and they're supposed to be a revamp of Demolition. But yeah, I mean, I like them as a team, but just the gear and the promos is just a bit cringy.
I don't mind them. I thought it was good fun. Andre doesn't wear a belt in this match, which I thought was a bit weird. To have the tag team champions coming down and Andre's not wearing a belt, probably a size issue, I would imagine. Couldn't be bothered to modify the belt or get a belt. So this is a tag team championship match. It's Demolition, Axe and Smash versus the Colossal Connection, part of the Heenan family.
Andre didn't even get tagged into this one, does he? Doesn't even.
No, man, a bad match.
Gets caught up in the ropes. Andre the Giant. He's sad, really. He's way past it at this point.
So the Colossal Connection is Andre the Giant with Haku, and Bobby Heenan comes down with him.
Great tag team, in terms of the dynamic between Haku and Andre.
Could have been.
It could have been, yeah.
Could have been.
I mean, but yeah.
So Andre, he did come in a few times to save Haku. What he'd do is he'd come in and give one punch to Demolition. Amolition. Is amolition a word?
No.
It should be. It sounds good.
Yeah, it does sound
good.
It's probably a word.
Probably a word. Yeah. We'll research that at some point. Never.
I was up all night playing 2K18, so I'm half asleep right now.
Haku with a great backbreaker again. Haku did a really nice backbreaker. One of the best I've seen.
I can't say any more good things. I love Haku.
It was great.
He needs to be in future games, man. He's so good.
Yeah.
He's such a talent.
Such a good backbreaker, though. And the way that he'd hold the backbreaker on whoever was doing was excellent. So Andre, as we've said, didn't get a tag. What did I say?
I just spilt.
You dribbled, have you?
We're all doing it.
Andre doesn't get a tag, just choking and headbutts from the corner of the ropes, even though he could when he get a tag when Haku was struggling right next to him. He didn't. Part of the story, I suppose, but I didn't really like it. A bit like the Survivor Series match. If you've got Andre on the apron, he is the threat. He is the ultimate threat. Yeah. Heenan. So Andre smashes Hash while Haku goes for a super kick.
Hash. Andre smashes.
Okay, well, Andre holds smash while Haku goes for a super kick. That was the sentence.
That's great.
It misses and hits Andre, who gets tied up into the rope. The demolition machine, is that what their finisher was called?
Something along those lines.
Yeah, I think it was a demolition machine. And then a pin on Haku. Haku did all of the work for the heels in this match.
Oh, man.
After the match, it gets a little bit more interesting, where Heenan starts shouting at Andre, probably because he did nothing in the match whatsoever. Andre then started slapping Heenan, which the crowd were all up on the feet for.
It was
the
a
crowd loved it.
nice little swan song for him, really.
And then Haku went for the super kick on Andre. Andre reverses it, and Andre won't let them get onto the cart, and he leaves the ring alone, basically, to a standing ovation. I think one of the nice things about this is that as Andre leaves, we get a standing ovation. After 3 years of being a heel, he's back babyface, and that's the last time it's not the last time we see Andre, because he still fought a little bit on house shows, and he also came in a non-wrestling capacity in a couple of years. So that's Andre done. Bit of a naff match, but nice breakup of the Heenan family at the end, and certainly the Andre bit. He also had a couple of matches in Japan afterwards as well, Andre. So, sad to see Andre go, I think.
I still can't imagine Andre getting on any type of plane.
No, man. You'd have to sit him in the middle, wouldn't you, to keep the weight balanced. Next up, we have an interview with Earthquake and Jimmy Hart. Something like, once you begin to feel the tremors, the foundations will be shook or something. But it was cheesy, quite clever.
Cheesy, but
clever play where, so next match is Earthquake versus Hercules. One thing to note in this match, in the last pay-per-view, Earthquake was known not as Earthquake, but as the Canadian Earthquake, because he was still a heel here. They'd got rid of the Canadian, got rid of the little silly flag on his cosy, swimming cosy, so he was full heel, full Earthquake mode here. Hercules gets an early lead with an old-fashioned lock-up on Earthquake, so we're seeing the Dremers in the ring. It proves that Earthquake was the strongest, so we're still building Earthquake up, because we're going into a feud in a little bit of time against Earthquake and Hulk Hogan. Hercules did a nice job of selling Earthquake. Although he was a slow mover, each of his moves did feel powerful, which I thought was quite nice. It was a brawling match, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a squash, I thought. No pun intended.
To a point, yeah. Segment when Earthquake could go down to a clothesline, so constantly batter him until Earthquake could go down to one knee. Earthquake got a nasty cut in his mouth. This is something I've noticed a few times about Earthquake, actually. He ended up with some nasty cuts in his mouth in a couple of matches that we come up to. Earthquake pins with what was it called? The Earthquake drop?
Something along those lines.
Like that. And then does another one as a pin for the Aftershock. Afterwards, it was just a nothing match, really.
Yeah, a squash match. Hercules
not a squash match as much as the Bret Hart match later on.
I thought it was pretty... I mean, they were really pushing Earthquake. Really
they were, and understandably, he looked great. Then we have an interview with Elizabeth. Elizabeth has been away from WWF for a while, or certainly away from ringside at WWF, and she wants to get back to ringside for her fans, so this plays into a match that we come into later on. Then we have an interview with Brutus, the barber, Beefcake. Looking at so he's looking at Mr. Perfect's record. Everybody has flaws, and he's going to find it. Next match, Brutus Beefcake with Mr. Perfect and the Genius. I have big problems with this match, man.
Man.
So the Genius introducing Mr. Perfect, whatever. The match started fast, with both of them throwing some good combination punches, which was good. Perfect kept going over the rope from Brutus punches and atomic drops and stuff like that.
Brutus looks stronger than he's ever looked, in my opinion, on this match.
I prefer Brutus's really early work, actually. But,
I thought he looked really good this time.
Perfect really sold Brutus. Yeah. I think was the important
Perfect
thing.
sold everyone.
He did, yeah. He was not a selfish wrestler. Very much like Bobby Roode, as I think we might have said before. Brutus threatened the sleeper early on in the match.
That's a good one. For future reference.
Brutus.
Perfect versus Rude.
That's a good match. But Perfect versus Flair.
Rude versus Flair.
We've been coming up with all these dream matches to hopefully put on the channel and sort of share with you. But yeah. So the Genius distracts the ref while Brutus is in the ring. He slips his scroll into the ring, which Perfect plants onto Beefcake's head. And then the match started to get really slow, and I don't really know why, considering the two wrestlers that were involved.
It doesn't suit Mr. Perfect. I mean, I know they're both technical, Brutus less so, but they were both built sort of as technical wrestlers.
Yeah,
Perfect
it shouldn't have gotten this slow. No way. Perfect got slingshot into the post, and Brutus gets the pin. So this is the end of the Perfect record. Why Brutus? Any reason? Like
I say, I've never seen Brutus look stronger, and it works. But then,
like Earthquake maybe, or Warrior, or Hogan.
Warrior would have been better. Hogan would have been better.
Let's give it to someone that's sort of up there.
But it wasn't technically his first loss because he'd lost at
He had lost at a couple of house shows. In fact, I think 2 weeks prior to this, Warrior had beat him at Madison Square Garden. So
that is true.
Yeah. Brutus wants to cut Perfect's hair, so but then the Genius steals the clippers. Brutus takes him back and puts the Genius to sleep, where Genius, he takes his hat off. He's already lost a lot of hair from the last pay-per-view, and he gets some haircut. I mean, that's really boring to me now. It's really, really getting boring with Brutus. Yeah. At least it won't Mr. Perfect, because that was iconic to his look, I suppose. The locks that Perfect had. He looked like a young Chris Jericho, didn't he? I suppose.
Absolutely.
I don't think it was the best way to end the Perfect streak. I really don't. I think there was much better wrestlers out there to lose it to, and even if it was just giving Jake the Snake, man. Jake the Snake beating Perfect would have elevated Jake to astronomical levels, you know.
Massively.
So next up we have a video package of Bad News Brown and Piper. This included the Royal Rumble,
This was definitely the most notable part of this pay-per-view, apart from the main event, I think.
For the wrong reasons, yeah. So the video package included the Royal Rumble, where Piper got Bad News Brown out. Bad News Brown come back into the ring and takes him out. They were fighting up the ramp, weren't they? It's quite an interesting feud.
It worked really well. It would have been a fun... I mean, it painted itself up to be a really good feud, I think.
That's really funny. Well done. So painting his way up. Tell us about Roddy Piper. What had he done?
Well, what he'd done was he'd painted himself half black. Now, in Roddy's mind, this was to show that he was accepting and supportive of all backgrounds and people from various different races and religions, etc. That was what he thought.
Religions? Why does it do anything to do with religion? Race, I think, is the...
Well, no, but it was kind of his thing. He was trying to basically show he was comfortable with everybody.
Oh, right,
That was the idea.
Cool, fair enough.
Basically it came across not like that. The whole thing was brushed quite awkwardly under the carpet by Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse in commentary.
It just comes across as racist, putting yourself half black, especially when you're fighting against an African American.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit more to it.
And he also said, "Who are you going to deal with, like Hot Rod or Hot Scott?" Meaning one Hot side Scott of Two-Face. Hot Scott was the black side of him. It just didn't work, did it, man? It just comes across as racist, really. Let's be honest, you know. No, don't like it. So Bad News Brown versus Roddy Piper. Again, Roddy Piper being in the ring. I never realised, you know, how much my memories of Roddy Piper aren't like this. He was very much a brawler. Yeah. He wasn't very technical in the ring whatsoever, was he? So actually getting these two in the ring sort of makes sense as two brawlers. The match wasn't very good, though. Yeah, so Roddy gets into the ring, strips off his outfit, his Hot Rod t-shirt, and his kilt, and he's really gone all half black, half white, hasn't he? Mm-hmm. And it's very much a brawl.
Yeah.
Roddy takes a glove out of his pants at one point and starts attacking Bad News with it. The cloth glove was what, giving him an advantage? What? I mean, it makes no sense, especially if you're going to do a brawl.
Silly gimmick, silly gimmick thing to bring into it.
Yeah, it was like a Michael Jackson glove. I mean, what's the point, man?
So many things wrong with that, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
Maybe he was making a black
maybe
or white,
Roddy Piper realised.
Yeah.
Good call, man. Good shout. Both start fighting outside the ring, and both get counted out. Everyone comes in to split the two up, and they fight up the ramp just like they did at Royal Rumble. Can't remember if this is the end of this or if we're going to see another black and white match. I can't,
Dear me. Dear me.
So apparently, this is a good little fact. Piper's paint had only come off with selected solvents, and Andre the Giant and someone else, I think, back from backstage, had gone into these solvents and poured them away and replaced it with water. So Roddy Piper couldn't get the black paint off and ended up the next day in the airport with the half white, half black face on. Can you imagine the looks?
Oh God.
Yeah. Next match, so next promo, I suppose, we see the Bolsheviks in the shower room. Was you excited to see the Bolsheviks in the shower room?
Were you excited?
I was. Well,
you look like you might. You look like you might enjoy the Bolsheviks
I don't get it.
in the shower room
I just
more
don't
than
get
I
it.
do.
So they've put a piano in the shower room, and there's some argument of, the shower room has great acoustics, which is just like you couldn't find anywhere else to do it, could you?
Yeah.
And Steve Allen is playing the piano. Steve Allen was a pianist and a celebrity, I suppose.
Yeah.
So the Bolsheviks come in and they're supposed to practice a national anthem because obviously that was their gimmick. They'd always go and do it. And the pianist keeps playing things that were taking the mick out of Russia, basically. A piano in the shower, man.
Silly, wonderful, silly.
Whatever, yeah. So the next match is the Hart Foundation, which was Bret and Anvil 9 Hart versus the Bolsheviks.
Yeah, massively over now, the Hart Foundation.
Massively over. The Bolsheviks want to sing the national anthem. The crowd are all booing. They start singing to the boos. The Hart Foundation's attack while they're singing. Mm-hmm. Quick double team from the Hart Foundation. And a pin on Zukov.
Yep.
Done.
Yeah, that's it.
Squash match. That's a squash match. You know.
Yeah, one very quick victory. Interesting enough, in terms of the Hart Foundation's rise, because they were doing so well at the time, and I guess that's why they gave them such a quick victory. But
they're in Canada, man. I mean, do we really need to see like surely they should have featured more heavily. Had they, let's say, been in the tag team title match and won the titles, the Canadian crowd would have gone wild for that. And we could have potentially had another match on the card that was good, and we didn't have many of them. Yeah. And including this, it was crap. It was just do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
There was one dude in the crowd as well that really didn't agree with it. So he's there and he's like, giving thumbs down, boo, boo, starts giving him the finger. I thought it was hilarious. Proper anti-Canadian in Canada. And there's an announcement of the venue for WrestleMania 7 where Jesse talks about all of his Hollywood friends being there. I can't remember WrestleMania 7, but I have a fear it's going to be a celebrity fest like WrestleMania 1 and 2. Do you?
Yes.
I can't remember, but we'll see.
It is,
yeah. And then an interview with Tito Santana. He was wearing his merch T-shirt, which looked awful.
Yeah.
There's like a picture of him, like cartoon drawing, and
it's another one of those in the wrestling bargain bucket that we found. We found one for the Red
crap
Rooster
T-shirts.
We found a Red Rooster T-shirt because Anthony thought it wasn't possible. And there's also that Tito.
That was a bad T-shirt.
They're all white. They're always white, and they've always got some terrible logo on them.
Yeah, but who'd buy a Tito T-shirt really as well? I mean, maybe I'd buy one now, but. Arriba! That would have been a better T-shirt.
Yeah.
Arriba!
Yeah,
I'd buy an Arriba T-shirt. There we go.
All right, I'll find you one for Christmas.
Awesome.
That's on my to-do list for tonight.
So the next match is Barbarian with Bobby the Brain Heenan versus Tito Santana. Mm-hmm. Barbarian and Heenan worked a lot together at this point, so the Powers of Pain had split up, and Heenan had took one. Oh, in fact, I've written it down somewhere. No, I haven't apparently. Oh yes, Fuji sold the Warlord and Barbarian's contracts. So Heenan got the Barbarian contract and Slick got the Warlord contract. Why they split them up, I don't really know. I think it was because they was looking at having the Road Warriors come in and you couldn't have two teams. So Tito, again, would have preferred to have seen him with Martel.
Yeah.
Fuji, Tito takes the early lead. Tito ends up on top of Barbarian's shoulders in a powerbomb position. This was a really neat spot. Tito punches his way out, but a really good show of strength from the Barbarian and the agility from Tito as well. When you've got a move like that and it can sell both wrestlers, that's great.
Massively.
Barbarian's getting pinned, but Heenan puts his foot on the rope. Massive clothesline off the top rope, which looked like it took off Tito's head. It was a devastating clothesline. And he gets the pin. So Tito's losing streak at WrestleMania continues, but this was a better match than everything else that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Both of them actually doing a bit of wrestling. Just not enough story or build-up in the ring, I think.
Yeah, it was not really another fluff match. It was all fluff matches for the main event, really, this.
Next up, we have an interview with Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire.
American Dream, baby.
American Dream, baby. Do you like that? Are you excited about Adam Cole?
Wait.
Go on, do your song. Do your song.
American Dream.
Oh. It's just a moment. Walking around with hands. Yeah, Dusty Rhodes was great.
Am I excited about Adam
Cole, baby?
Adam Cole, baby, yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, man, he's good. It's good fun.
You're a fan.
Yes, I like Adam Cole. So Dusty Rhodes says that what Macho Man is missing is his crown jewels. What could that possibly mean?
But Dusty has a lot of crown jewels.
Dusty had the crown jewels, yeah. So we have a mixed tag match here. We have a mixed tag match, man. A mixed tag match.
There's nothing wrong with them if all the athletes are on it, and really good.
We have a mixed tag match with Dusty Rhodes and Macho Man, right? Can we not just see Dusty Rhodes and Macho Man go at it, instead of adding Sherry in there and Sapphire? Anyway, yeah, I have problems with this match, actually. I saw the match on the card, and I was really excited for it, because Dusty Rhodes and Macho Man should have been excellent.
Yep.
The story was okay in it, but it could have been amazing. Yep. The two of them together are amazing. Could have been massive. So, yeah, they weren't just on the ring, but on the mini rings. It looked like there was on a scissor lift mini ring. So there was actually when Macho Man come down, so he was actually even higher in the crowd, which looked great. And one of the nice things Sherry was doing is she wasn't stealing any of the limelight from Macho. She was very clever.
She was very good at that, man. She's incredible. One of the best managers.
She was a massive character, but when you've got someone like Macho Man, she knew when to get literally on her knees at this point, and go. This is the guy you all want to see. Great work. Love stuff like that. Not easy to do, man. Not easy to do.
She was fantastic.
She was great. It looked like, so after he gets in the ring and he's got his ring gear off, it looked like he'd stolen his outfit from Mr. Motivator.
Yes.
It was a very colourful outfit.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that. I quite like that period of Macho Man's dress code. Like I say, it was flamboyant.
I prefer the one colour, I'll be honest. This is, very, very 80s.
Flamboyant.
Yeah. So Dusty grabs the mic when he enters the ring, and Dusty and Sapphire have the crown jewels, and they're going to introduce the crown jewels. Then we get Macho Man's music playing again, and in comes Miss Elizabeth. The crowd went mental at this point, a huge pop.
Yeah.
That's how over Elizabeth was.
Oh man, she was first lady, incredible.
Absolutely, incredible. So Macho Man and Sherry share a bump as Dusty pushes them into each other. I thought Sherry did a good job in this match, actually, to keep up. I just don't think Sapphire was that skilled in the ring, was she?
No. No, she'd never had any formal training in it.
No, I don't know if that's a fact or not, but you could tell that she wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Dusty holds Macho while Sapphire punches him at one point. Yeah. Macho delivers multiple axe handles off the top rope to Dusty on the floor. That looked great. He had a really good way of jumping around the ring. He looked so natural.
Yeah.
Sapphire gets in the way of him, in the way of Dusty on the third time, And Savage jumps down and pulls the hair out to move her out of the way. They really weren't afraid of pushing the Macho Man as a woman abuser angle, was they? Because they did that whole thing with Elizabeth as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's a good point you make. Yeah.
Which I don't like per se, but it's quite interesting. And the dynamic between Elizabeth and Macho Man was really interesting.
Well, I don't think they quite meant it as he was supposed to be a woman abuser ever. I think it was more...
I think they did when it was Elizabeth and Hulk, certainly. Well, he was abusing her when she was in hospital or something, wasn't it?
Was that the angle?
I think so, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I'll look back on that.
Yeah. Sherry did a splash off the top rope onto Dusty at one point, which again, Sherry doing a lot of the legwork on the female side of things.
She was a great performer, though.
She was.
She was a great performer.
It was a shame that they didn't have the quality of women in the WWE at that time to be able to have a female division.
Again, it was a different time. You know, these women were enabling the women that are around now to do what they do and inspiring them.
Because Rocky and Robin, I think, had gone by this point. So there was no women's division in the WWF at this point.
Yeah, it was.
But Sherry really, kept it going.
Different time. Yeah.
Sapphire couldn't wrestle, just dances and looks quite awkward when she was doing any moves. Which is more shocking that Sapphire gets a pin on Sherry. This was as Elizabeth had gone on the apron and pushed Sherry over, prone Sapphire, and then Sapphire gets a pin. Again, we've got Dusty Rhodes and Macho Man potential here. You know, I'm not interested. I like Sherry as a manager, fine. Sapphire as a manager, fine. Elizabeth as a manager, fine. I wanted to see them two
just go at it.
Go at it, man. Yeah, absolutely. My problem with the whole female-male tag match, and it was a problem for me, even though I quite enjoyed what The Miz did at WrestleMania, the whole thing of if they get a tag, the other person's automatically got the tag. It's like, well, why not just have it as one-on-ones?
Yeah, well, that's always been a thing. I mean, I think these days with in promotions like Lucha Underground and TNA. They'll now have women and men wrestle standard.
Yeah.
I think it's still the same in WWE though. I'm not entirely sure you will ever see like a Charlotte get in the ring with a.
No, they won't. But I think they should do.
In Lucha,
I think they could do.
In Lucha,
I know they do.
I mean, it's the set. Like, I mean, it's not like these people are actually hitting each other.
Exactly.
You know, and the women in who work in Lucha Underground and TNA, but mainly if you guys watch Lucha, I know we're a WWE podcast, but you guys, if you want to see a fantastic wrestling show,
or a mixed gender wrestling,
in terms of if you watch Lucha Underground,
yes,
I love it. I think it's incredible, and those women can perform better most of the time than a lot of those. They're absolutely incredible performers.
But what's the name of Gargano's girlfriend?
Yeah,
because she's had some amazing mixed tag matches.
Yeah, they've had a few together before. Yeah. While they were together probably, but in other promotions where they're both beating on each other.
And it's great, and I think it can be done. It just needs to be done right. You know, it's wrestling ultimately, and you put someone like Charlotte against Heath Slater. So that'd be a good match.
Be ace.
You know, Charlotte versus Ziggler would be ace.
Charlotte versus Ziggler. Yeah.
I'm not saying let's have Braun against Bayley, but let's have Braun versus Bayley, man.
Well, whatever.
Do it. You know, it's not real.
Well, exactly. Exactly. You know, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's so mainstream.
I think it was because they pushed it too far in the Attitude Era, and it become quite abusive, but. Like I said, the females are such a talent.
That was played down as women were weaker than the men, though.
Exactly. And the women aren't weaker than the men.
Exactly. We're in a world now where they're not.
No, not
period.
at all.
And especially not in this sport, which is primarily, like we say, it's performance.
Sorry, what I say is at the minute, what I'm saying is back then they weren't sold to be as powerful as men, and now they just are.
Yeah.
And I'd be okay with it.
I mean,
let us know what you think. Actually, that's a really interesting debate
like you say,
topic.
If you really wanted, again, because these people are all trained performers, Charlotte could slam Braun Strowman. It's just how Braun would do that. Braun would have to do that. You know, it's possible. Anything is possible if these guys are quality trained performers, which they are. And I think the WWE are late to catch up, but I think it's probably because of the family orientated.
And because they went too far in the Attitude Era with it.
And they treated women as lesser.
They did, and they shouldn't have done that.
And Vince McMahon is still one of the things I'm really looking forward to. Vince McMahon retiring, is you will still hear backstage stories of performers telling them Vince's attitude, saying, we'll put you with, X, Y, and Z because you'll get over because she's hot or something. And it's just that is you'd see Vince McMahon to when he was a regular on programming, you'd see him, getting off with Trish Stratus and stuff, using his gimmick, and power. And that's, it's a different time now, thankfully, that we're in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking forward to seeing Paige back, and those kind of people that will really have big advocates for women's wrestling. You look like you had something to say.
I was just waiting for you to say women's wrestling. Please let us know what you think about mixed gender matches and stuff like that, and go and watch some of the stuff on YouTube. It's a really easy resource to go and find. But let us know, because that's a really interesting debate topic.
100%.
And I think that you can look at it from both sides as well. Yeah. So next up we have Mean Gene with Heenan. Gene is delving into the breakup of the Heenan family, explaining the reasons for attacking Andre. He's through with Andre at this point. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Andre wouldn't wrestle again. Then we see celebrity journalist Rona, who has been investigating the superstars and has found an adult movie with Jesse, with Bobby Ventura. I thought it was a really weird segment, man.
Yes, it was.
Why are we talking about adult movies?
That was very odd. Very odd indeed.
Thank God it was Jesse and not Hulk Hogan, because that would have been...
Well, it's probably that's the thing. Those were the days of VHS tapes. There's probably quite a few, but they've all been destroyed.
Yeah. Or they're in the archives.
There's a lot of things that you can't destroy these days, unfortunately, from Mr. Hogan. Although he's actually come off way better than he started out.
He's made a lot of money out of the
millions
trial.
More, yeah.
So then there's an interview with Macho, who's obviously upset about his loss. Demolition interview follows that, and they're happy to be tag team champions again. I was happy to see Demolition as tag team champs.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think this second run isn't as good, and this is where I think they start to, because Axe wanted to step back a bit from the wrestling. I think they take on Crush, and so Demolition takes on Crush as well, and I think it's all a bit watered down from the first sort of run, but
changes things a bit.
And then we have an interview with Hogan. You know something, Mean Gene?
It's actually really good.
Thanks, man.
You take your vitamins, say your prayers, man.
Positive I can't do it anyway. And I can't do it as good as that. But positive vibes are welcomed into Canada, but Warrior needs to know the power that can be from the Hulkamaniacs. And then following that we had an Ultimate Warrior interview. Clears off the interviewer because he's not worthy to share his or Hulk there, which is again sort of two faces here going at each other, both showing respect to each other, showing that it's not necessarily Hulkamaniacs versus Warrior. Warrior was pushing a lot the idea that the Hulkamaniacs can follow a greater power, which is the Warrior, which was a clever angle, man. It was a clever angle. He can take him to places Hulk can't, which was interesting. The match felt massive, obviously.
Massively,
two faces, especially on...
A massively massive match.
A massively massive match. A macho match.
A massively massive macho match.
So next up we have the Orient Express. Pat Tanaka and Sato with Mr. Fuji versus the Rockers. So as we like to, on each episode, cover any new... What am I saying? Can you say it for me?
Cover any people that we haven't covered before, people that are in WWE history, that and their previous careers as to previous times before WWE and also post what they got up to afterwards. Yeah. The Orient Express is the first time they come up in our WWE history.
It is.
And so, would you like to begin with your part of the Orient Express?
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about Akio Sato. I hope I haven't butchered that. I probably have.
You're all right.
He started wrestling in Japan Pro Wrestling Alliance and All Japan Pro Wrestling. He went on to fight in the NWA in America, where he'd win the Western Tag Team titles with Mr. Pogo.
He's come up before.
He has come up before.
Come up before.
Hey, like a
Sorry,
pogo
that's
stick.
Terrible. Is that terrible?
It's all right.
Sorry. Carry on.
It came up double quick with just one pogo stick. A bit of System of a Down. Back to WWF. Nice. He was feuding with the likes of Blackjack Mulligan and Ted DiBiase. So
Blackjack Mulligan.
Yeah, Blackjack Mulligan. I'm really lazy today with my he went back to Japan for 8 years before joining the WWF, and he had a brief run with the Orient Express, feuding with the Rockers, which lasted for around a year. These teams put on a good match at WrestleMania 6, I'd say. And there was a couple of other good ones to follow. I think the Orient Express were a great counterpart to the Rockers and were in position to accept what the Rockers were doing. And
nice
it helps,
little rivalry, actually, yeah.
Yeah, it helps get the Rockers over. They'd also gone later on to have a rivalry with Legion of Doom, which was originally supposed to be Demolition, but because they'd sort of phased out Demolition with Axe not as much, it was Orient Express that did a lot of the legwork for Legion of Doom, where they just get destroyed, but it was part of selling Legion of Doom and becoming who they was. Domination. You know? And you can't make a team without having a team that can do that for you. So then he had a short run as a singles competitor, but didn't do much noteworthy. He did hold the flag for Yokozuna.
There you go.
I think it was WrestleMania or SummerSlam 93. And he had a brief run as manager for Hakushi in 1994 until he became a face, and then he was quickly faded out.
Nice. I loved Hakushi.
I don't remember Hakushi.
It was great. I love his body art. Amazing. You should go watch some Hakushi.
We're going to watch some Hakushi in about 4 years.
He has Bret Hart's head. He has a really good feud with Bret Hart. And
all right. Oh, yes, I know what you mean. Okay, cool.
Real good.
Cool.
All right, so I've got Pat Tanaka. Started his career, like his counterpart in NJPW, trained by his father, Duke Kiyomuka, and moved over to America to Jim Crockett Promotions, like a lot of people we've been covering, and that was in 1985, so he started his career in the US in 85, briefly teaming with Jeff Jarrett in Continental Wrestling Association, before then starting the Bad Company with 2 D's, Bad Company, with Paul Diamond, which was pretty successful for him. So he won the CWA Tag Team Championships with Paul numerous times, a couple of times between 1986 and 88. After that, the team moved together to American Wrestling Association, where they won that company's tag team titles in 88. Also managed at this point by one Diamond Dallas Page before Page started his
wrestling
ascent into wrestling. Yeah. So interesting little combination there. That team ended up splitting for the first time in 1990, and they had a short feud with each other, and that was before they entered the WWE and formed the Orient Express.
Oh wow! So he had some real experience.
Yeah. Post that, he went over to ECW, and later WCW, reforming Bad Company in those Bad Company in both those promotions, but never to the same success. So him and Paul got back together to kind of have a little bit of success, but nothing too great. Now Tanaka continues. He still works indie shows across Japan and the US. He has a dojo called the Fighting Spirit in Ohio, which was opened in 2006. And an interesting fact is that he was the first person in WCW before Goldberg, which sounds really odd because obviously it's Goldberg's theme music, but he had Goldberg's theme music before Goldberg.
There's a lot of people that reuse music actually. Yeah, There's a great YouTuber called, I think it's Lamomania or something like that. He does a lot of really good top tens, and one of it was looking at people that have reused music through the years. Really good, check them out, man. WrestleMania, I think it is.
Cool.
Check it out.
Yeah, because that's the
shout out for you there, dude.
If you look at how iconic that Goldberg music became, it was first used by Pat Tanaka.
Yeah.
In WCW.
Great, interesting, thank you. So onto the match. Tanaka and Jannetty start into the ring. It quickly goes into double two moves, with the Rockers performing moves at the same time as each other. The Rockers really felt like a tag team, more so than most other tag teams.
I loved them. The chemistry. I can't wait for you know how we were talking about how many versions you can get of performers on games.
Yeah.
How you can get like a Rockers version of Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, man.
And a Marty Jannetty.
Yeah, man. Get us Marty Jannetty.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah, they need to get him into the Hall of Fame. Really, like seriously.
What Shawn
the Rockers.
The Rockers.
The Rockers need to be in the Hall of Fame.
Shawn Michaels is right.
Yeah, he will be.
Is
I guess.
Is he already? I think he's already.
He must be.
Jannetty is not.
No, Jannetty's still wrestling though.
Yeah, he's got some problems at the minute though.
Right.
He's in a bit of hot water.
No, I think he got to come through them. I think he's come through them.
No. Most recently, he's made some quite questionable comments on social media, and he's been in trouble.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
But I'll let you Google that.
Cool.
But yeah, no, I'd like to see him in a Hall of Fame, and also I'd like to see Jannetty on the game, because I'd love to. I'd love to play dream matches with Jannetty versus Dolph Ziggler or something like that. The people that should have been or could have been way more bigger than they were. Yeah, than they ended up being.
Yeah, it is sad. But hopefully in the next few years, once he starts... I think part of the problem is, for a wrestler like that, if he starts signing contracts with WWE, he's going to be struggling to get indie work, because they might limit him and stuff like that. I think at the minute, he just wants to do his indie stuff, and that's... I respect that, I mean, this guy, we're talking about an event here that happened 27 years ago, and he's still wrestling. That is incredible. And he's still drawing numbers. That's incredible. Marty Jannetty, yeah. Be it massive numbers, he's still drawing people. People are going to see Marty Jannetty wrestle.
Yeah, that's true.
That's amazing. 27 years of wrestling. That's true. It's mad when you think about it. So Fuji uses his cane to get Jannetty out of the ring. So pulls down on the top rope with his cane and continues to attack him with the cane. Both of the teams had great chemistry together. I think that's one of the things that was great about the Orient Express, is that their style really complemented the Rockers. There was a great backflip from Sato over Michaels, which looked like it was done with so much ease. I love stuff like that.
Very natural performance. Very
natural, yeah.
Very natural, kind of lightweight, cruiserweight type performance as well.
Absolutely. And then he got caught out by a clothesline from Michaels straight away. End of the match, Jannetty gets blinded by salt from Sato, falls over the outside barrier, and due to this, so he's with his eyes and he falls over the barrier on the outside. The Rockers get counted out, and the Orient Express take the win. So we're looking at a feud here, which is going to last for a couple of pay-per-views, and it was an interesting start to that. I enjoyed it. Next up, we have a Rhythm and Blues interview. Rhythm and Snooze, as I like to call them. A bit boring. Honky was doing all the work. Did you know that
this team just balls the hell
the guy doing the interviews was like, "Oh, you really look like someone. You look like who is it? Johnny Cash." Yeah, we get he looks like Elvis,
Yeah. Terrible.
So,
sorry, yeah.
Terrible. Sorry, I'm dying here. Next match was. Thanks, man. Okay, that's a nerve. Next match was Jim Duggan versus Dino Bravo with Earthquake on the outside and Jimmy Hart. What are you doing there? Yeah, man, I'm getting really fed up with Jim Duggan's gimmick, actually. And
he never changed it, not once.
So Duggan gets the entrance. A mixed reaction, actually, here for Duggan, because it was filmed in Canada, not in the USA. Yeah. So he's going around going... And,
people
Canada
aren't digging it as much as they usually are.
No, man. It's a general match you'd expect from these two. A lot of clotheslines, etc. At the end, Hacksaw awkwardly goes for Earthquake. Provides the ref with a distraction as he's telling Earthquake off, and Hacksaw uses 2x4. God, Hacksaw loved his heel moves, didn't he?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And then 3 Earthquake drops. Earthquake did the smash 3 times afterwards. What a waste of time.
Yeah, moving past.
Next up, we have a video package showing DiBiase putting his $1 million belt on the line for the next match. And then an interview with Jake the Snake. Everything $1 Million Man stands for is on the line. He'll have to get through Damien and him.
Yeah.
Promo $1 million. It was a good promo, actually, from Jake. Jake was a good promo.
He was one of the best in history.
Because what he did is, this was a time where every promo was about shouting as loud as he could at the camera, and Jake did exactly the opposite. He drew you in, man.
And you look at guys like, I mean, you can question guys like Wyatt these days, but when you look at someone like Raven and the impact that he had on sports entertainment with his promos, and it's all Jake the Snake. Dean Ambrose does it. as well, pretty well. You can see just how you can see how gimmicks are very much influenced by previous performers. So Jake, his influence is in Wyatt, it's in Ambrose, it's in numerous people. But it was in I'm pretty sure Piper and even borrowed parts from because. And Gold Dust, same, types. They're all borrowing from each other. They're all taking influence from each other. Yeah.
No, good observation, to be honest with you. So it was a great promo. It was all about $1 Million Man's money and how he was using it to help himself and not help poor people and stuff like that. A really nice promo. I suggest if you can go back on YouTube and watch that promo. So the next match is Ted DiBiase with Ted DiBiase with Virgil versus Jake the Snake with Damien.
Damien and Virgil, same thing.
I was really looking forward to this one. When I saw this match on the card, I was like, that is going to be good.
To be fair, everything but the main event. And the main event, because I'm not a fan of really either of the main event wrestlers, the main event was great. I thought this was going to steal the show.
It didn't,
and it did not.
No, I was shocked.
It did not at all, and the end was disappointing. I mean, it was nice to have Jake get a little measure of revenge at the end of that. Nice DDT. The fans get the DDT, but the match itself.
No.
Oh man, this whole. Actually, the next one was okay. Bossman Akeem was nice because it built Bossman up as a face.
I have problems with it.
But the rest of it, but this one was.
Let me go through the match really quickly. Jake nearly gets an early DDT, but DiBiase slides out the ring. $1 Million Man reverses a reversal and uses DiBiase's momentum to get him out the ring. That was a really nice moment. Excellent looking moves in the ring, both of them really sharp, really selling, the pair of them. It was when there was a couple of really long holds in the middle of the match, and the crowd were more interested in doing a Mexican wave than I was watching a match. Yeah. In some aspects, that made the crowd cheers sound like it was for the match, but it wasn't really. DiBiase got a lovely pile driver on Jake. That's when the match started to pick up a little bit because the crowd were into their own Mexican wave, but the crowd shouldn't have to do that to get that. DiBiase locks in the $1 Million Dream. Eventually, Jake gets the advantage again, and DiBiase does an incredible job at selling backdrops, clothesline, atomic drops. Excellent. He gives a signal for the DDT. Yeah. Virgil pulls him out the ring. After the $1 Million Dream...
Flippy neck, Virgil.
Flippy neck. After a $1 Million Dream is applied again, Jake runs into the turnbuckle, knocking them both out before they both counted out. Virgil slides DiBiase into the ring. Oh, right, yeah, sorry. Before they counted out, Virgil slides DiBiase into the ring, so it's Jake that gets the count out. And then Jake comes in and takes both of them on. Virgil runs away with the belt, but DiBiase ends up in DDT. Yeah. It was an okay match. It had some good moments in it, but not what I expected from these two.
Yeah, on a terrible card, it's probably my third favourite match. But it was.
Agreed.
Yeah, but this one coming up is my second favourite match. But on the whole, very disappointing from both performers. Not their best show.
For what they were, we just wanted more, didn't we?
Not the best show, yeah.
Then we have an interview with Akeem. So there's something that's happened.
Dream.
Something's happened between this pay-per-view and the last pay-per-view. So Big Bossman refused to take Ted DiBiase's money, which split the team up, as Akeem did take the money. That's why they fell out. I think that's a bit of a weak reason to fall out. I don't think they ever used...
it's a face-heel. It's very typical face-heel.
But I don't think they used the Twin Towers as well as they could have done.
No.
I thought there was a devastating...
And it would have been better, as we have said at least 10 times now, if One Man Gang was with
Bossman. 100%, yeah. So Bossman has turned face and Akeem is the heel. Again, doesn't really work because Akeem... looks like the face.
Yeah, he does. He always looked like the face. It's just very strange on the whole.
I will say Bossman looked in a lot better shape in this match. A hell of a lot better shape. He lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, he looked good. He looked leaner than I've ever seen him.
He did, yeah. Akeem as a heel. He's still dancing. It's a pleasant sort of thing.
Yeah,
it's
like a Koko Beware. Do you know what I mean?
It's a Koko Beware. It's a Dusty Rhodes.
It's like...
How can that be?
If you're going to dance around and smile about, just be like generally just... He looked like he was pretty happy, to be fair.
I mean, you get like... I get the sort of... If Rick Rude was dancing, it'd come across heely. I suppose you can have heel dancing people.
Yeah.
But this one, it was...
Yes, very odd.
Don't get it, man.
Very odd, yes.
Let's try and do Dusty Rhodes. Oh, crap, we've got him in the company. We've got a real Dusty Rhodes.
Yep. So now let's switch him back to One Man Gang. Oh, no, wait.
Oh, no. Let's keep it going as Akeem for no reason. The African Dream. Why did Akeem and Dusty Rhodes never tag team up? Or do they? I don't think they do.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, anyway, sorry. DiBiase comes out from under the ring as soon as Bossman enters, so DiBiase's been hiding there, and he attacks him. So Akeem has the advantage for the while because of the attack that DiBiase does at the start of the match. But Bossman gets his second wind whilst trapped in the corner. There was quite an early Bossman slam.
Second weed.
Say again?
Say second weed.
Second wind.
Oh, okay. Well,
second wind, like
he had a second. He had a second wee. I was like, what?
Second wee.
Okay, cool.
No, sorry, man.
Odd.
Early Bossman slam onto Akeem ended the match way too early, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't make. I mean, obviously, there's not really much you could do at this point to make Akeem look strong.
No,
but
yeah, maybe not.
Didn't say. But it made Bossman look like a beast.
Yes, yeah, and Bossman again is probably moving on to better things.
Yes.
Bossman caught Slick and give him a punch as well. Punch in the chops.
Yeah, Slick deserves a punch.
Yeah, Slick every time I would see Slick, I want to punch him.
Just the most annoying manager. Like, he has no reason. And when he talks, he just came across as an idiot.
Well. Yeah, I would. The breaking up of the Twin Towers is a big story, right? Mm-hmm. They were a dominant force. There was against Macho Man and Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
You know, there was that big a deal.
Yeah.
And we have a blow-off like this.
Yeah.
Are you joking?
Are you having a laugh?
Are you having a laugh?
Are you having a banana?
Are you having a banana?
I can't think of any more.
You can one more.
You're taking Mick.
Taking the Mick. Very good. Yeah, it was a massive story. They were both capable of putting on a great match, and this didn't happen.
It did.
Yeah. So next up, the Rhythm and Blues are going to perform the new hit single, "The Honka Honka Honk of Honky Tonk Love." I think I actually got that right.
Yeah, no, you did. I remember seeing it very early on in my lifetime.
Yeah. So they come out in a pink Cadillac, trying to.
I cringed then. I'm cringing now.
They're trying to make a big spectacle of it, aren't they? The problem is it's not a wrestling match, man.
Not great.
No,
not great.
There was lots of feedback on the mic. I don't know if that was intentional or not. There was a lot of feedback on Honky's mic. Jimmy Hart loved it, man. If you haven't seen Legends House, have you? I bet Jimmy Hart.
I saw an extract, I think.
Oh, did you? I bet Jimmy Hart.
It was awkward, quite awkward sometimes.
What, Legends House? It was really good, actually, by the end. I really enjoyed it. It was a really good story.
They didn't always get on, did they?
No. Jimmy Hart was absolutely in love with it, and I bet you he wrote some of this song. He must have written some of this song, and he was proper trying to get the girls into it, and he was singing himself with his microphone. He loved it, didn't he, Jimmy Hart?
Well, he's probably always high. He's just always high on something. Is Jimmy Hart not necessarily on drugs, but on life?
Yeah, absolutely.
On life, Jimmy Hart.
And I've seen some guitar players. I've seen Slash. I've seen Angus Young, Tom Morello. Some absolutely phenomenal guitar players.
And Honky Tonk Man's right up there.
Greg Valentine. I have never seen anyone play an acoustic guitar and for it to sound just like an electric guitar. I don't know how he did it. He didn't even move his hands, man. Well, I mean, that is talent.
I've actually seen Honky Tonk play guitar, and it's actually not terrible.
Is it not? Right.
But
Greg was there like this. And then electric guitar starts playing, and I'm like, what are you doing, man?
He's blatantly faking it, I remember that. I remember that segment from when I was younger. And I was just
sounded awful, but and then he sings a verse into the microphone. You can't even hear it. He's like, If they'd actually called the tag team Rhythm and Snooze, that was a gimmick that could have actually worked.
Do you remember that would have been a brilliant name. Do you remember Head Cheese?
Head Cheese? No, I don't.
Steve Blammon and Al Snow.
Oh, really? No, I don't remember that.
Head Cheese.
Nice.
Was a thing.
Nice.
And they wore inflatable cheeses on their heads. That was a genuine tag
I think
team.
I have seen a photo of Steve.
That was a genuine tag. So yeah,
Oh.
Rhythm and Snooze would have been all right in comparison to
It would have been a gimmick, yeah. Sounds awful. It couldn't be bothered. Greg the Hammer Valentine at all. The two after the finished offered to play again with The crowd all booing, of course. And then 2 program sellers stand outside the ring. Who are the 2 program sellers, Dom?
The 2 program sellers... What?
The 2 program sellers were the Bushwhackers.
Oh, yes, indeed, of course.
Yeah, go on. You don't know if I actually put out on my head that time, do you?
No, I know what you put on your hair this morning. It's lovely. It smells really nice.
Does it? Oh, it's
L'Oreal. I missed my Bushwhackers cue there. I was like,
I know.
I remember that. I remember that, and I'm thinking to myself,
who was it?
The Bushwhackers. Is it the Bushwhackers? I might not be the Bushwhackers. Is it my time to lick him? Is it my time to lick him?
It is your time. I didn't put anything on my head today, though, for you.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
I can taste whatever's in your head.
It wasn't Dairy. It will be Dairy.
Please don't put... If you do that, I'll vomit all over.
I know you will. That'll be funny. So the Bushwhackers go into the ring and smash the guitars. Yeah. If this was when they were the sheep herders, Dom, they would have smashed them guitars over the heads.
Yeah.
It would have been brutal.
Yeah.
Instead,
there would have been blood.
There would have been blood. Have you watched some of the sheep herders stuff?
Yeah, you went, yeah.
Good,
when you started telling me about it, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, you do crazy stuff for money, don't you? The Bushwhackers, when they went to the WWE, they probably were like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, but then they weren't getting hurt like there was in was it NWA or somewhere, yeah. Then there's an announcement of the all-time attendance record in the venue they're in. That's not a massive deal, is it? If it's in the venue you're in, or is it? It's not to me. So 68,000, yay! Next match we have Rick Rude with Bobby the Brain Heenan versus Jimmy Snuka. Snuka keeps mocking Rude with his hick shapes throughout this. Rude takes an amazing drop kick over the top rope. It looks great. Snuka was on form here and Rude was on top form. The two had great work along the ropes. The match was a quick succession of spots. Snuka misses a Superfly splash, leaving Rick Rude to get Rude awakening. I'm not sure if this match... Because the actual ring action was really good. The problem with the match was it was too short. Okay. I'm not sure...
It's why it doesn't make it into my top 3. Because
it's same here, yeah. I'm not sure if it's so good because it was kept so short and they had to fit the spots in a... Because backstage, you're looking at the main event is next, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. The main event is next, so they're on limited time. So they probably said, we've got to cut your time down... So get your spots in time. It could have done with a lot more time.
Absolutely,
and it would have been a good match.
For those two, and the talents that they were. I mean, we're looking at our top. We're going to be looking soon at our top 10.
It might already
performers.
be out.
Soon. But,
soon.
We in that video, whether it's out now or out later, I would put Snuka within that, and I would put both of these guys within that.
Snuka's, I think
we need to have a discussion about it.
We'll have a discussion.
We need to have a discussion about it. But given the gravity of these two performers, they weren't. The position on the card is correct, but the time they were given is incorrect. Is incorrect, and it's something that if I was booking for the WWE, and I should be allowed to book for the WWE because I'm awesome, and so are you. We should be allowed.
We should
to
be
book
the bookers.
We'd be like Paul Heyman and Bischoff.
Yeah, man.
Who'd be Bischoff?
You can be. You've got more of a head of hair about you.
Fair enough. You've got more of a Heyman beard.
Heyman Baldwin.
So it's disappointing for a lot of these performers, but I think the pay-per-view was kind of crushed under the weight of the main event.
Not just that, I think it was crushed by the amount of matches to try to squeeze in.
They could have got a few more minutes of promos in, or they could have taken a bit more space.
Just kill off a couple of the early matches.
They didn't have the network. They didn't have a few extra hours. We got too much. Arguably, I would say, as much as big a wrestling fan as I am, and I'm
WrestleMania's long.
But all the pay-per-views, man. They've got 2 hours or an hour, something 2 hours. They got the pre-show, and you've got the hours worth of just chatting. And these days they didn't have any of that, but it was still crammed.
This was a slog to watch. If I'm honest with you, it was really hard to watch. For
this main event,
the main event was okay. I have issues with it.
Best main event I've seen so far in our series.
No way. No way.
Mine. Anyway, carry on. Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
No, because I need to think of a better main event, right? Video package for Hulk and Warrior. We see the Rumble spot where they both meet up in the Rumble. And then we see a couple of spots on Saturday Night Main Event, as well as the Superstars, where Hogan was going to help the Warrior in his matches. And Warrior would maybe hit him or something like that, and then the other way around, that they'd refuse to work together, and there was a lot of tension between the two, clearly. Who was you a fan of at this time? Who did you want to see?
Neither of them. I wasn't a fan, and I was kind of pushed. This podcast kind of pushed me to pay attention to the two performers more than I would normally do.
Right.
And if I had to pick a preference, I'd pick Warrior. I think neither of them capture my attention.
I remember as a kid being more of a fan of, because it was a thing. I remember it being excuse me.
Bless me.
I remember it being at school, like people going, "Oh, whose side are you on? Are you on Warrior's side or Hulk Hogan's?" And I was like, "Oh, Warrior," because but then it's just about looks, as well. But that's okay.
I mean, this time,
as a young boy, 5.
At this time, I was scared of Jake the Snake, but throughout my life, I've always been that kind of person where I'm morbidly curious about things that scare me, and so Jake was always a favourite, and I always wanted, when I was a kid, I always wanted a Jake the Snake to be in the main event, and I went on that way with the 1, 2, 3 Kid and X-Pac and all the underdogs. I always wanted them to be main eventers.
Cool.
So Warrior
and Mick Foley,
and Mick Foley, which Mick Foley is the one underdog that really made, and Rey Mysterio.
Sami Zayn will do it eventually as well.
But I think that I same with Reigns now. Reigns and Strowman. Reigns and Strowman have the same effect for me. I know you're a massive Strowman fan or a big Strowman fan. Reigns and Strowman for me now is the same as Warrior. If I had to pick one, I'd pick Strowman. Yeah. But only because I have to pick one. This podcast means that I have to pick one.
Right.
And I pick Warrior.
So you're not a massive fan of Strowman?
No.
But
the only captivating characters in the WWE for me right now are let me think. Wyatt, Black, Ziggler, but let me explain. They're not just because not because I'm biased, because I'm not a favorite wrestler type of person. What I appreciate is talent, and I want Miz is in my top. Top 5. Yeah. On the undercard, all the crew, like the cruiser in the cruiserweight division, you've got guys like there's like Tozawa that I just think are just incredible talents that deserve main event spots more than Strowman has been pushed in the way that he's been pushed because of his physique. Reigns, same, and because of his look.
Did you like Kane?
It's about selling. I loved Kane.
But Kane's the same as Strowman.
It's about no.
Kane was a beast.
Gimmicks though, man. Gimmicks is all about.
But you've got to have that beast to topple.
No, it's all about the gimmicks, man. Hogan was forced down everyone's throats.
Yes.
So was Warrior. Warrior was forced down everyone's throats.
I think people wanted it as well.
Strowman is being forced down everyone's throats, just like the way Reigns was forced down everyone's throats. So
my throat is open for Braun.
The only person I will swallow in the WWE right now, the only person's content or the only person's gimmick that I will swallow right now is someone, someone like Balor. Okay, now Balor, you understand that, right?
I love Balor. Yeah.
Exactly. So Balor's probably my 5th pick. Okay, now Balor looks the part. He looks like.
So instead of right. So going back to Dolph Ziggler, instead of AJ Styles, you're putting Dolph Ziggler above AJ Styles.
Yes.
Jesus, right.
Yes, Jesus. I am. AJ Styles is up there. AJ Styles is without question one of the best performers.
Right.
But Ziggler, and it's about. Listen to me, right? It's about gimmicks. It's about something to say that relates to people. Hogan didn't relate to anybody. He was about. Wait.
Go on.
I'm going to make my point.
I know you are.
I'm going to make my point.
Go on.
Right. how do you relate to the Warrior? He was a bodybuilder that talked about the stars and space. Hogan, bodybuilder.
But
he
David Bowie was.
He talked about saving. talks about saving. Yeah, but David Bowie was a dude. He was relatable.
No, he was an alien.
Yeah, but he created a gimmick. Hogan was a bodybuilder that was overly patriotic. Warrior was a dude who painted his face that talked about the right. Strowman. If I'm a wrestling fan, like the majority of people, why do you think people dig Dusty Rhodes? Why do you think people?
Because he was talented and he had charisma.
He was talented. Yeah. And people dig, no one.
But
this is my opinion. This is my opinion. But right, listen. No, we're going back because we're the Gimme All Year Wrestling Podcast and we look at wrestling history. So, Warrior, you can't relate to him. Okay. Hogan, you can't relate to him. If I'm going to pay money to Vince McMahon's company, I want to relate to his performance. I want to find something that I can relate to. Strowman, I'm never going to relate to. You're never going to relate to. As much as you are a fine physical specimen of a man, you are not related.
But he's got a mighty beard.
You're not related, but you're not going to relate to them.
Right, you was a fan in the first WrestleMania that we watched, and you've said this several times on the podcast of Junkyard Dog. How can you relate to Junkyard Dog?
Because he was a working class dude
that acted like a dog.
Yeah, but he was a working.
Right.
Yeah, but he was a grafter.
You have sat here for the last 5 minutes moaning about Braun Strowman. Yet I said to you 2 episodes ago about a man called Zeus. And you said Zeus was great. Zeus was a machine.
Listen to me. I'll clarify my point to you. Right, Zeus, you can suspend disbelief. He was an actor.
You can with Braun Strowman.
No, you can't.
Why?
No, you can't because there's nothing relatable about the Strowman. Right, and you might say there's nothing relatable about Zeus.
There's nothing relatable about Zeus, and you loved him.
Because he was an actor.
And he was rubbish. He couldn't even wrestle.
He was an actor. So
you related to him because he was an actor?
No, because he was pretending to be. It was like breaking the fourth wall. It was like meta, right? It was wrestling. It was performance within performance, right? That's character. It's why I like Wyatt so much. Okay, you can't relate to him but it's kind of like magical. It's fantastical.
I get that.
It's fantastical.
But so
in wrestling,
because Braun's over the top strong.
No, in wrestling, I want something I can relate to. I want something magical. I want something fantastical. Now,
but you don't find someone throwing an ambulance over magical as a feat of strength?
No.
Okay.
I think it's impressive.
But I'm saying that to me is impressive. I think it's impressive.
No, I didn't say it's not impressive.
It's magical.
It's impressive.
It's magical.
It's not magical. Nothing's magical. No, it's impressive. It's very
impressive. It's more magical than Brain Finn's SummerSlam match.
Yeah, that was true.
Yeah, there we go.
I couldn't do that, and I'm impressed that Braun can. But personally, where do you stand on this?
I like who I like, and I like a variety of different wrestlers, from big guys to small guys.
Who do you relate to the most in the WWE today?
Who do I relate to?
Who do you think you could be? Who do you think speaks for Anthony Nailon and your values the most?
I know who I could be with.
Anthony, that's not the question.
I know, but I can't get Alexa Bliss out of my head.
Oh my God. Totes in approach, Anthony. We do this every time.
I know, man, but you get me thinking, who do I relate to in the WWE? I don't really relate to anyone because I'm a someone that does a wrestling podcast. And
well, tell me who you relate to.
No one really.
Okay.
No, I don't watch it for.
So you don't get inspired by the character work portrayed by guys like. Well,
Finn Balor or something like that.
Me personally, I appreciate Johnny Gargano because he's worked on the indies for years and he's got a great talent.
I appreciate all the work. His energy.
Finn Balor, same thing.
But I appreciate Braun Strowman just in the same way.
Well, yeah,
I appreciate
incredible. I appreciate his physique, and I appreciate
not just his physique, but his talent in the ring has improved certainly since he was in the Alliance.
Absolutely.
And I think he's the best monster possibly since Kane.
I think you're right. I absolutely agree with you.
But you didn't agree with me 5 minutes ago.
Listen. I'm talking about people I relate to. Okay. I'm talking about people that I find interesting.
Yeah, but you can't relate to Braun Strowman because he's like an 8 foot tall man who can grow facial hair.
I can grow facial hair.
Can you?
I shave regularly because I find beards bad luck.
Oh, I didn't realise that you'd gone through puberty.
You dickbag. Right.
And on that, Matt.
Anyway,
let's go into
do you guys think? Are we full of shit, or do you agree with anything we've said?
Let us know.
I want to continue this at some point.
Yeah, man, we can do. Intercontinental and WWF World Heavyweight Championship is on the line in this match. The Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan. Ultimate Warrior runs up the ramp, and Warrior, I said to you when I was watching it, looked amazing in terms of his hair looked great, his makeup looked great.
Yeah.
You could tell this was a big moment for both of them. Hulk also walked in instead of using the mini rings. Earl Ebner raises both titles in the air. I'm sure that it's for both of them.
Was it for both of them?
Yeah, it was, yeah. Yeah, but then it got stripped not long after because Tunney had said, I think it was Tunney, had said that someone can't have both titles.
Yeah, fair enough.
So they held a 8-man tournament, which I believe Mr. Perfect won.
There you go.
For the Intercontinental Championship. So the match started off with shoves, both showing the power, which was a nice setup.
Yeah.
As these both felt equally matched. And they were both selling that.
What do you call it? Test of strength thing.
The lockup.
That was mega.
That's what they went into next.
That was mega, yeah.
After a while, Warrior gets Hogan to his knee. The crowd was shouting all the way through. The interesting thing about this is when the Warrior went down to his knee, right? The crowd are cheering because Hogan's got it in, and the Warrior fans are cheering because they want to support him to give him the power to get up. So there's no one booing, everyone's cheering, no matter who goes down. Very clever dynamic, man. Hulk eventually takes the Warrior down. The two crisscross a bit, ending in a slam. Warrior gets straight back up. Again, no-selling a slam.
Yeah.
This is the time when you no-sell the slam.
Yeah.
Not when Zeus is fighting. This was the time. Okay. Warrior takes the advantage and clotheslines him out with the ring. Hogan hurts his knee on the fall out, and Warrior starts targeting the knee. This only happened really at the start of the match, and I wish that they'd carried on doing it a little bit more throughout the match, because they didn't. A lot of back and forth now in the match. A near pin from Hogan to Warrior. Double clothesline knocks both men out. Both men are go probably well past the 10 count, didn't they? But it worked. It showed that they were both forces. Warrior starts hulking up. What do you call a Warrior Hulk up, Dom?
He channels the stars.
Channels the stars,
spirit
the galaxy.
Of the Warrior, the galaxy.
Multiple clothesline, keep Warrior with the advantage. Then Warrior falls over Hulk because he's sort of running over him and knocks the ref out. Hulk reverses Warrior, goes for the pin, but there's no ref.
Yeah, man. This was nice. The way they were,
it was good. Yeah. It was a nice spot. Then Warrior gets the advantage, pins Hulk, and there's no ref for the Warrior. So it was all about that balance of back and forth all the time. Ebner comes to and starts counting Warrior pinning Hogan. Of course, it's a slow count, and he kicks out. And then it's the other way around, so it happens. And that's all this match is, really. But it's clever. It's well done.
Yeah, in the short time they had...
for the talents these were, which was not... There were characters more than
characters more than talents,
Warrior gets Hogan for a slam and a splash on his back, goes for the pin, and no good.
Yeah, no.
Hogan kicks out of Warrior's finishing moves. Jesus. Hulk starts hulking up afterwards then. Which is where Hulk misses a leg drop. Which was nice. And Warrior does a splash and pins Hogan.
Yeah. And then Hogan kicks out after 3.
Because it's Hogan.
Yeah, he's got a massive problem.
Why did he do that?
Basically, apparently I read that... did you read as well? Apparently Hogan went back in after...
Told Bret Hart.
Yeah, told Bret Hart that he wasn't going to last. And it actually turned out to be right, unfortunately.
Well, of course it did. But, I mean, that's, by the by.
Egos.
So Hogan gives Warrior the championship, raises his hand, and the fireworks solidify his win. Hogan again, all of his Hulkamaniacs can now support the Warrior and the two good guys. And,
Hogan goes off to be a movie star.
Yeah. Rematch of this happened at Halloween Havoc in 1998 in WCW.
Man, have you seen that?
It's friggin' awful,
I think we should go back and watch that just for a laugh.
Man.
We should have a drinking game.
We should just have a drink and watch awful wrestling.
And just watch awful wrestling. Have like a drinking game for every bad spot.
Because they have the cameraman, don't they, with the fake... Oh, man, it's awful.
Anyway, if you want some entertainment, if you can't handle all of our podcast, at least if you take away anything from this, go and watch that match and just cringe. But thank you very much for watching. We really appreciate it. I gave this a 2 out of 5 2 out of 5 gay stars.
1.5 for me. Not enough wrestlers
main
involved.
event was passable. Was decent. It was my
okay,
favourite match of the night. Bossman's face turn was good.
I imagine at the time that main event was a lot bigger than it is now.
Yeah,
I mean, it was an okay main event from both of them, and I would advise people to go watch it.
Yeah.
But like, it wasn't a great wrestling match.
No, it was not.
It was. I think it was Pat Patterson that called it.
Yeah.
And he developed the story of the ring, and that was quite well told in terms of the evenness.
It was big, and it was worth
face versus face.
Yeah.
And there's not many face versus face.
No, you couldn't
matches.
do that. You couldn't. Well, you've done it a lot. You get a lot these days with Reigns and Cena, but it was well done. It was effectively done. But thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on Instagram. Are we on Instagram? We should be on Instagram. Facebook, Twitter, Patreon. Yeah, all that stuff. We should. Yeah, there you go. That's what we're gonna do next time. We'll have an Instagram by next time. Yeah. Thank you very much for everything, for all your support, all your likes. We always need more, so please keep getting behind us. Please check out our merchandise on Redbubble. Buy and support us, and thank you for watching. Keep it gay.